Hey everyone, welcome to episode 36 of the Pickleball Effect podcast. I'm Braydon. It's just going to be me for this first little bit. Kyle isn't here today, but don't worry, he's not fired. Still keeping him around. He's just out of town this weekend, hanging out with some family. Probably just needed a break from me. But yeah, he'll be back next week. I'm keeping Kyle around for a bit. He's great, much better at this than I am, and I know everyone's been enjoying his thoughts and comments. Really glad to have Kyle. But yeah, he'll be here next week. But I have some topics I'm going to share with you by myself. I'm going to talk about a paddle collaboration with Volair. That's going to have it's going to be like my own paddle design, my own skin, which I'm really excited about. And we're going to donate all the money we make from that to a charity that's near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to talk about that. And then I want to just talk through my review process, how I select paddles to review, and just how I make money. There's been some comments and some discussions online of kind of the ethics, how reviewers make their money, and so I want to talk about how I do it and just be totally transparent with you all with my process there and how I'm able to pay my bills. So and then after following that, I have an interview with Christian Alshon that I recorded earlier in the week that I'll put in the back half of this podcast. We talk about his rise to the top. He's one of the top 10 male players, phenomenal player. Talk about how he got there. And then we talk about strategy, how he approaches the game and gives us some nuggets around pickleball strategy, at like high level pickleball strategy. We talk about his new paddle release with Paddletek. So he's got his own signature paddle now, which is a big deal, really cool for him. And I'm actually, I'm pretty into the paddles. They're really solid. I think they fit nicely into the power paddle category. And so we'll talk more about his paddles and what I think about them with him. And then that'll finish us off. So let's start with this collaboration I'm doing. So this is with Volair. I've been playing with the Volair Mach 2 for the last several months. Big fan of it. I've been using the 14 millimeter. That also comes in a 16 millimeter. It's a really solid paddle, a little shorter, a little wider. It's a wide body, super forgiving, and I like how it plays. I'll link my review in the description if you want to check it out. But yeah, so I was chatting with Volair a few months ago. He knew that I was the owner. His name's Ryan. He knew that I've been playing with his paddle and really liked it. And he asked if I wanted to do like a collaboration, like a Pickleball Effect design on the face, kind of like a limited edition type piece. And I wanted to do it, but I was hesitant because I didn't want it to feel like a money grab or like I endorsed one brand more than another one. And then he suggested that we do the collaboration, but then all the money we make from the paddle, we donate to a foundation. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I can get this sweet collab with my logo and design on a paddle, which would be really fun. And then we can, instead of making money and making this feel like a money grab, we can just donate the money we make to a foundation. And so we decided to go ahead and do it. And so that's, I'll put a flash or an image on the screen here of what the paddle's looking like. It's coming along. It's going to come in a really nice box. It's going to come with my tungsten tape. And anyways, really excited about this. But the coolest part about it is the charity that we're going to raise money for. So we're raising it for a charity called the AJU Foundation. So this is a foundation that my family actually runs. My parents manage this, and this is something that's really near and dear to my heart. And I wanted to bring up this collaboration and this foundation this week in particular because it's a special week for my family and I. So the AJU Foundation, AJU stands for Alec Jenkins Unsicker. He's my little brother. I'm kid number 5 of 6, and he's number 6. So he passed away from cancer six years ago, and his birthday was May 4th. So this is always a hard week for me and my family. I miss him like crazy. He means so much to me and my family. He was just an incredible human. He battled cancer for over 10 years before he passed away, and it was just this really long, drawn-out process that was really, really difficult for all of us. And for the majority of his life, he passed away when he was 20. So half of his life, he was battling cancer, and he never complained. He was always looking outward, finding ways to look beyond himself and his struggles, and to just always have a good attitude. And be cheerful and help others that were struggling with their things. And he's just a huge inspiration and continues to be one for me today. But yeah, his birthday was May 4th. The kid was a huge nerd, and it just feels like no coincidence that he was born on May 4th. He loves Star Wars. He was huge into Funkos, and he has like 1 million Star Wars Funkos in his room. His room is still intact in my parents' house, and all of his decorations of all of his Funkos are up there. And I really don't talk about him too often because it's hard to talk about, and it's probably healthy for me to bring this up here. But I'm really excited about doing this with Volair and kind of sharing this part of my life with you guys, this story, my little brother, and this foundation. And I just think it's cool that I can use this platform and to raise money and to support my family's foundation. And so this is something I'm really excited about. So be on the lookout for this collaboration coming out in a couple of months. But I want to tell you a little bit about more about this foundation. So yeah, a couple of years before he passed away, things were getting really hard, and he needed like some sort of outlet of something to work on and put his time towards. And we came up with this idea for the AJU Foundation, where we thought about all the things that people had done for him to get to the point where he's at today. And he would always say, if it wasn't for his friends and his family and their appreciation, or not appreciation, just their support, love, and gifts that, helped him get last as far as he did and have such a good attitude like he had. And so he made this foundation to give back what was given to him. So the foundation will take the money they raise and will build kind of like glorified care packages for applicants, for people who send in information about their friends or family who are battling cancer. So the friends and family will nominate folks who are battling cancer, tell us a little bit about them. Then we go and build these care packages and would deliver them. And so Alec would build these care packages with us. So we'd go shopping and we'd think about these people, and we'd build these, and we'd, if possible, we would go and deliver the packages, in person, or we would ship them out if they were out of state. But some of the best memories I have for those last couple of years of his life were making and delivering these care packages. I remember one story in particular. This was towards the end. This was probably a few months before he passed away. But we built this care package. We pulled up to this family's house, and he was at this stage where he could hardly walk. His body was very bloated from the medicine, and he's just always tired. But he got out of the car. We just would help him hobble up to the door. You could just tell how tired and sick he was. But as soon as the door opened, he would just put a smile on. We walked in. We shared moments with his family, and it was just incredible. I miss him like crazy. And I remember after this particular one, we went afterwards, just ate out at A&W, and I just that dumb root beer float place, and just have a few pictures from that day that I look back to often. And now that's what I do every year on his birthday on May 4th. I just take my kids, we go eat in A&W and just talk about and remember Alec. And anyways, I want to read you this letter that he wrote, and we share with all the families that we deliver these care packages to. Let me pull it up. And this letter just, he had a great sense of humor, and I feel like this letter embodies the foundation and my little brother well. So this is what he wrote. He says, the AJU Foundation was started by me, Alec Unsicker. I'm 20 years old, and I've been battling my cancer for 9 years now. I know how hard it is to have to deal with this, though I know that every situation is different and that some have it harder than others. It's always hard being diagnosed with cancer. Another thing I know is that
I would never have made it this far if it weren't for all the super nice things my family and friends have done for me over the years, from wonderful gifts and fun to just coming and visiting me and letting me know that they were thinking of me. So about 2 years ago, when the doctors told me that they couldn't do much for me, I decided to start this foundation and to give cancer patients all the love and support that was given me. Now, I'm sure that you've received a lot of love and support yourself from friends and family, but I'm sure a package full of your favorite stuff wouldn't go amiss. I hope you enjoy it, and if you don't, just know that we're only as good as what your family and friends tell us, so blame them. Anyways, he was really fun to be around, really sharp, really smart, and just a big nerd, and just handled all his crap so well, and always will never forget him. And I hope I can keep his memory alive, and like I'm really glad that I can share this part of my life with you, and to help spread and keep his memory alive through the foundation. So be on the lookout for this coming out, this paddle collaboration coming out soon. It'll be out here in a couple of months or so. But anyways, really excited about that. And more information to come there. I'll put some links and information in the description if you want to learn more about the foundation. Okay, so now, oh my gosh, that was hard. I'm not very good at talking about him. Every time I talk about him, man, it just comes out. Doesn't. Hope it never stops, because I don't want to forget him. Anyways, okay, moving on. So I want to talk about my paddle review process and how I make money. So as you can imagine, I get paddles sent to me on a weekly basis. I have so many paddles in my house. It's crazy. It's really hard to store them all. And I base my reviews, and well, as you can imagine, like I can't review them all. So I have to be a little bit picky on which ones I review. And so I base my reviews based off of like audience interest, and then performance and or like value. And so there's just more interest around the bigger brands, right? So if, your YOLOs, your Selkirks, your Engage. And so those paddles are, people want to know how they play, whether they're good or bad. So I do my best to stay up to date with all those paddle releases coming out. And I prioritize those just because they do have more interest. But those paddles from the major brands aren't always the best paddles. There's a lot of really good paddles out there from medium and smaller size companies. Some and a lot of like unknown companies. And so I'm always on the hunt for paddles from lesser known brands that are really good. And so I when I'm looking at newer brands, this is when I'm really paying attention to performance. So I'll run the numbers on the paddles. I look at the technology of the paddle. Like, is it introducing something new? Is it different from the market? Is it good value? Maybe it's a good deal. Maybe it plays well as some of these bigger brands, but it's a lot cheaper. So I'll look at, take into account those things. I'll go, I test paddles every Friday with Kyle. We have a set time where we meet at the Flying Pickle there in the indoor place in Meridian, and we go in and test the paddles that we get each week, and we'll try to kind of find some nuggets and some good paddles from there from smaller brands. I won't, if it's a paddle that's just like okay, if there's nothing that really stands out from these lesser known brands, like I don't feel like it's just not worth my time to review, just because there's not as much people seeking information about those paddles. But if it's a really good one, if it is introducing some new technology, if there's something really cool about it, and or if it's like a really good value, then yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna share it. But yeah, then but with the bigger brands, like if they release a paddle that I'm not a fan of, then I am going to review it, right? Like people are still interested in knowing if it's good or a bad paddle. So for example, like the Engage Pursuit Ultras, wasn't a fan of those, and said as much in my review. And so I try to be as unbiased as possible in every review I do. So I don't accept money to produce the review. I try to keep as much as control as I can on what paddles I select, what paddles I want to talk about, and kind of potentially endorse and just just talk about and create content around. And I feel like if I were ever to take money, that would just ruin that. Plus, like, you know, my audience, everyone listening here, like, you guys are the first priority. Like, you're the ones I'm making this content for. I'm not making this for the brands. I'm not making this for myself. It's for you guys. And so I try to be as objective and as unbiased as possible. Every paddle has its pros and cons. And I just try to, you know, be straight about it. And I'm not a salesman. Like, when you read or watch my reviews, it's obvious that I'm not trying to sell these paddles. I'm just informing and telling you guys about them. And that's just kind of how I am naturally. And I think it's just the best way to build, you know, credibility and build trust from you guys, that you're getting information that's honest. And to, you know, my ultimate goal is just to help you find the best paddle that fits your game. Like, I don't think there's one paddle that's best for everybody. So I'm not going to, like, very rarely do I just get really big on one paddle, because even if it's a really good paddle, it doesn't mean, you know, everyone should go buy it. It may be good just for, you know, like a certain style of play. So I do my best to kind of, you know, break down a paddle, you know, its performance value and who it's good for. And just, I have a lot of course, I have like my YouTube and my website where I make content, so that my videos and written reviews and other, you know, guides and different things on the website that I've developed to try to help people find the best paddle for the game. And so that's my process. And when I do make money from a paddle, it's from a affiliate. So if you don't know what affiliate programs are, essentially I have like accounts with all these brands and companies that I do reviews of. And so if you go watch my review or read one of my reviews, and then you decide that you want to purchase that paddle, and you click on one of the links either in my description or in my written review, or if you use my discount code, you see discount codes everywhere. It seems like, you know, every reviewer, every ambassador has like a discount code for their paddle. So if you use, click on my links or use my codes, I get like a small commission from the sale when you purchase the paddle. So commissions will vary from brand to brand. It's anywhere from like 10 to 20%. So some brands do pay more. And I consciously ignore what the commission is, because I don't want that to influence how I speak to a paddle. And there's definitely, it could be easy to try to, like, you know, push a 20% commission over 10% commission. Like, I'm sure there's somebody that does that, but I know that, like, me and several of the other major reviewers, just, you know, we can't think that way, and we're not trying to make money. If I was trying to make money, then this wouldn't work. Like, there was no way I could build trust with you guys and be as objective as I want to be if my goal was to make money. That's not my goal. My goal is to help you guys, inform you guys, and help people find the best paddle for them. And then the money is an afterthought. It just comes as a result of that goal. And so that's how I think about things, and that's how I operate. And that's the process I go through of selecting paddles. And so, like, just as an example, I don't know if people find this interesting, because it blows my mind when I look at these numbers, because I don't feel like I'm like influencing a ton of people, but I do more than I realize, I think, sometimes. Because so this last month was the best month I've ever had in affiliate sales. So there were over 1,600 paddle sales from people either clicking on my link or using my discount codes of paddles that were purchased. And this is the best month I've had to date. So as far as, you know, like financials and the number of paddles that I was a part of selling. And so it's pretty crazy. Like, that's probably a lower estimate, because I have accounts with a lot of, like, just a ton of different brands. And so there's sales that will come through that I didn't grab from my list. It's actually kind of hard to tell how many paddles I sell every month, just because it's all hosted on different dashboards. I have a dashboard with each company, and it's a lot to keep up on. I don't always look at them. And anyways, so yeah, 1,600 paddles, which is just crazy to me. It seems like a lot, and it is a lot. And anyways, I thought that was a fascinating number, but I'm just super grateful for everyone's support, for using the information, using my codes and my website to help you guys find your paddles. I started this full time a few months ago, and it's things are growing. Like last month was the best month I've ever had, like money wise. And I still feel like I'm at the beginning. Like I feel like there's a lot of runway. There's a lot of things I can do still to grow my website, grow my brand, and my presence in the space. And so I still feel like overwhelmed a little bit on my day to day, like trying to get everything done because I just don't feel like I have enough time, even though I'm full time now. And so I think that's a good problem to have. A lot of stuff I want to do, mostly with my website. My website is like kind of the workhorse for me. It does most. I get most action there than like YouTube or other channels. Like I think it's good to pair the videos with the website because it puts a face to the person reviewing the paddle and adds a different element to the written review. But yeah, I mean, like if you go search on Google, for pretty much any type of paddle information, my website is more than likely going to be and pop up on the first page of the Google search engine results. And so my website works hard for me, and I've done my best to build the website so that it can fit the needs of different people. Like I have my in-depth written reviews for people who really want to get into a single paddle that they're interested in. And then I have, guides on how to select a paddle, how to find a paddle that makes sense, and things you should look for when you're buying a paddle. I have, like a list that kind of shares my favorites, and I have like my paddle fitting quiz, and I have a bunch of different. Then of course I have like my paddle database that really gets in the weeds and makes it easy to compare paddles. And so I have a lot of different ways people can use that, like makes the most sense for them to find, and like in the stage they're in, to find the paddle for them. And so I have like a marketing background. Before I was doing this, I've worked on primarily software companies doing, digital marketing. So I've sat with a few different digital marketing teams. I've helped with other websites. And so that side of this business, I guess I'm building, comes a little more naturally to me, like the website things and the video and other stuff. I've just kind of been learning as I go. But yeah, things are growing. The website does well, and I'm always amazed how many paddle purchases that I'm a part of, and like those are just the ones that actually used my code or clicked on my links. I'm sure there's a bunch of other sales that happen that I kind of indirectly influence, and so it's pretty bizarre. And I don't feel like I'm reaching that many people sometimes, but it's really cool. And like ultimately, I'm so happy that I can do this full time and that I can pay my bills and put food on the table for my family. And I enjoy my days so much more than I did before. I just feel very, very fortunate to be in this position, and just like being able to own my time. I love. My dad has always been a serial entrepreneur, and I've always envied his lifestyle. And now I get to live it, where I own my time. I'm picking my projects. I get to, learn and go after the things I want to learn and do. And it's so cool. And I've met a lot of really cool people through this. I know I'm going to keep meeting more people, and I'm so grateful for everyone following along on this journey, because it's I'm gonna keep going. I think, like I said earlier, I think there's a long runway, a lot of things I have planned to do, and I really think I could double what I'm doing, and I'm excited about it. But yeah, my philosophy is from the start and now is I want to control what I'm putting out there. I want to be as unbiased as possible. I want to help you guys, first, and everything else comes second. And if the money comes after doing that, then great. It's never my goal to go make money. It's just when I first made this, I remember like my goal was just I wanted to get some free paddles, which is kind of funny. And I didn't even make $1 for the first couple of years. Like I didn't even know I could make money this way. I didn't even really know what affiliate marketing was. And so it's grown and transformed and turned to a lot. And it's pretty cool. I'm excited where it's going to go in the future. And then I also make money from like my Amazon products. So I have like my tungsten tape, I have some edge guard tape and some over grips. And so, like if I look at the last 30 days of sales on Amazon, we sold, let's see here, it was a little over 1,800 units across all the products I have. So like that sounds like a lot, but these are pretty small items. Like, you know, it's between like $10 and $20. So they're small purchases, and there's a lot of money, like overhead money that goes into this side of the business. Like you have to pay for the product. You know, we do quite a bit of advertising on Amazon. The shipping, you know, Amazon takes like 15% of every sale. So there's a lot of costs that go into this side. So I actually don't make a ton of money off the products, but I do make a little bit. But I also think it's like a good way to build like a different way to build my brand and to get, you know, the Pickleball Effect logo and things out there. And it's healthy. It's healthy that way. And these products are just cool. Like I'm just like you guys. Like I play pickleball every week. I'm very invested in the game. I love playing, and I've come across products over the years that I like, but they just weren't quite right. And so, like for example, with the edge guard tape, when I made that, it's probably been like a year when I first wanted to do this and made them. Like there was edge tape you could buy, like Selkirk had some, Gearbox had some, but didn't have very many colors. It only covered the top of the paddle. It only came in one width that fit their paddles. And so I was like, I want more width options. Like I want different sizes. I want more colors, and I don't want predetermined like lengths of the edge tape. Like if I just want to cover the top, then I want to cut to that length. If I want to cover the whole paddle, then I want to cover my whole paddle. So that's why it comes in a single roll, so you can cut to the length you want. And then I just wanted no logos on it. It always bugged me that these edge guard tape is just so logo heavy. Like I don't want to go put, Selkirk edge tape on, my carbon paddle or whatever. Like the brand mixing, wasn't a fan of that. And so I just wanted no logos. So I went and made it. And, I'm in a lot of ways, like I am my target market. Like if there's a product that I like and will use, I know that there's going to be a lot of other people out there that will like and use it too. And so I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from the edge tape and then like the tungsten tape, right? Kind of a similar story where like I'm a big fan of customizing my paddle with weight, and lead tape was just how you did that. But I have kids at home. Lead isn't the healthiest material. It's a little toxic, and I didn't want that in the house where it's potentially accessible for my kids. But also, like a lot of people put the lead tape like in the throat of the paddle where you're touching it with like, if you do any two-handed shots, then you might rub your eye or eat some food or something afterwards. And it's just not the healthiest option to use. And so tungsten seemed like the route to go because it's not toxic like lead is. But the only like tungsten options, there was like Wilson made some and Selkirk made some, but it was just the stuff they made was so light that like you had to put a ton of it on for it to really do anything. And I was like, I wish there was a heavier tungsten weight option that just came in one long roll and I could cut to the exact weight I wanted. And it didn't exist. And so I went and made it. And again, like people are appreciating it and, using it just like I am. Like this stuff is really cool, and it's doing well for me. And so I just launched the 0.5 gram per inch weight now that's on Amazon. And so those products are available and moving, and I do make a little money from those, although it's not as much just because the overhead on those is quite a bit. Like it requires a decent amount of cash flow. Like this last order I just placed for tungsten tape that came in last week, like it was a $30,000 order of tungsten tape, which just blows my mind, man. I still can't believe that I'm like selling or influencing as many paddle sales and like making these huge orders. Like, anyways, it's just crazy. And yeah. So we got that order in, got that shipped over to Amazon, and it's being fulfilled through there. And that's pretty hands off. Like kind of the cool thing about what I'm doing is a lot of it is very, very hands off. Like the website is kind of working for me. I got the Amazon kind of working for me, and there's money that comes in through that. And I just kind of focus on, the next review. Like I don't make a ton of money from every review every new review I do, but it's like the accumulation of all this content over the years and these different guides and processes and funnels that I've made to help people find the best paddle that it's starting to add up. And there's a lot of ways for people to find my information and to find or to find information about paddles through my stuff. And it's starting to build up, and the sales and the money's starting to come from that, and it's pretty cool. And we're gonna keep going, man. I really think I can double, what I'm doing, and I just enjoy it. It's been so much fun. And anyways, again, just so grateful for everyone's support, following the journey. But yeah, so that's how I do things, and I hope that was interesting. Like, I don't want people to think that I am like taking money or anything like that. Like, I'm honestly just trying to play this straight, and I hope it shows in the content that I make, because that's how I'm doing it. But let's cut over to the interview with Christian. So here we go.
What, man?
Hello. Hey, I'm so sorry. It's almost an hour late. That's crazy.
Dude, no worries. Yeah, you're calling in from Austin, yeah?
Yeah. They had an entire day planned, and the itinerary said that we would be back 4 to 5, between 4 and 5. And we only have like an hour before dinner, so I'm really like.
You hungry right now?
It's a whole thing where I actually didn't even eat lunch until the car ride back because we were busy.
Oh,
we had to, yeah.
Well, no worries, man. Okay. Yeah, don't sweat it. I'm just chilling at my computer, cranking stuff out, and was happy to accommodate you. But yeah, looking forward to our conversation.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, so you're calling from Austin. This is the Texas Ranchers Retreat for your MLP team. MLP's next week.
Yes, it is. It's coming up.
What have you guys been up to? What are you doing?
So today, let's see, we had like 4 different media outlet shoots this morning at like a gym. We had, I don't know, like a Bobby Jones from like something with him. He's a big name from iHeartRadio. We had like local magazine. We had ranchers wanted to do their own thing. We had one more group, just like had back-to-back groups for like a few hours, just like recording stuff, like all over that. So I've already been doing this a decent amount today.
Oh man, that's kind of fun though. Is this kind of new?
Yeah.
Like, have you done shoots like this? I guess PPA, like, they have some media days, don't they?
Yeah, PPA does have some media days. I have done a decent amount of stuff like this over the last year, with pickleball. But after that, we went wake surfing, which was like our reward, you could say. So we did that, and we were on the water, and that's ultimately why I'm late, because we were out there longer than we should have, and I didn't want to be that guy. I'd be like, "Hey, I've got a call at 5." I said it at 4:20 that I had something that I had to be back at 5, and then we didn't get back until 5, and then the hotel's 30 minutes away, and then the hotel was a hassle. So I mean, if we're recording right now, I usually am not this frantic, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I have it running. But yeah, dude, seriously, don't worry about it. Wakeboarding, though, so my wife's really good at that. I'm horrible. I've never been able to figure it out. Like, I could do it with a rope, but I can't do it, just solo. Can you do it solo?
So I had tried when I was younger, when I was like 16, growing up in Boca Raton, Florida, Lake Boca, and I'd never been able to stand. For some reason, I always struggled with the concept of just standing up. Like, I must have been doing it wrong. But
like,
today,
just getting started?
Yeah. Just when you're like laying back, right. Your feet are on the board, and you're supposed to just like stand as you get pulled forward. And today, the first time I attempted it today, I did it. I don't know how.
Oh boy.
Must have been good coaching, but yeah, I did it.
It's those leg workouts, dude.
Yeah, must be.
Well, that's great, man. Yeah, glad you're having fun. Next week MLP. I like you guys' team. You have Tina, Etta, and then Telez, right?
Yeah. Pablo, we've got a really, really solid team. And I mean, the thing is, MLP, anything can happen, but I do have a lot of confidence in our team.
Yeah. I was looking at all the teams just now, and I feel like you guys are definitely one of the stronger ones. I feel like since the draft, like Tina has been rising, you've been rising. So that, like, when you get those picks that get better since the draft, it goes a long ways. And I kind of feel like it's up to you and Pablo, man.
Yeah, we've got the girls now. We just got to see if the guys can figure it out.
Well, cool beans, man. So I have a few questions I want to run through you. I imagine what this will be, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes or so.
No sweat.
Yeah, man. So just kind of thinking back on your journey, I think you started 2021, 22, right?
2022. June of 2022.
And then, I mean, from the onset, people were watching you. You're obviously very athletic. You have you're a taller, bigger build, and a lot of eyes were on you. But it seems like the last 6 months or so is when you were able to kind of make that leap into like the top tier on the male player scene in all events. You've always been competitive in singles, but particularly in mixed and men's. I feel like you finally cracked the code and you've made that leap. So I want to, from your perspective, like what do you think you could attribute, making that next leap to? Like, what are the little things that you've developed that have enabled that jump?
I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about because I know from I know the point where I had never made a quarters in doubles about 7 months ago, 6-7 months ago, from never making a quarters to continuously making the semis, quarters, plus in almost all three divisions routinely. Like that's a big jump from never doing it, having played for about a year or for a year. And then just, it kind of just clicks. I'd say what I could attribute that most to is the reps. So, because, coming from tennis, it's so different. And I mean, you have the athleticism, you have swinging something, you have background from swinging something. So you kind of know what you're doing, but pickleball is so unique in the way it is that you can't just come out of nowhere and be the best and be at the top. It takes time to really build and develop your game. And it's just like, you just got to build the core of your pickleball game. And it took me about a year to do that.
So you feel like you've always had the ability, you've had what it takes to get there. You just need to get the reps until finally the consistency was there. The shot selection was available. It was just a matter of time, you think?
Yeah. I always felt like I was going to make it there. I mean, that helped drive me to train and drill and just know that it's coming. You're going to get there. You just, you got to put in the work. You got to play every chance you get because that's so important right now.
So I can't help but think that there's a pretty large group of players in that kind of middle sphere that are obviously excellent players, but they haven't been able to make that jump that you've made. And if you were to say, oh, maybe I have faster hands, maybe I have better strategy, like, is there a thing where you think you excel at perhaps a little better than most players?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because only so many people can be at the top. It's not that crowded at the top, and you can only have like 5-10 people up there, or 15-20, and there's definitely like at least 100 people that want to, like 100 top pros that want to be in that level who have been playing. I'm trying to think. I don't know what specifically. I mean, there's not like, oh, my backhand roll is so good that I can be a top player, or my forehand speed up is so good that I can, I'm finally a top player. It's a mix of everything of your game. I think there needs to be a certain baseline of almost everything in your game in order to be that top level.
No, that makes sense. I mean, you obviously have to have a complete game. And I do think you naturally bring, a little more offense, a little more power that not everyone has. just kind of, you know, part of your history and the way you play the game. So like, I think there's some things there, but yeah, dude, like when I look at the people at your level, I would say number one, right? Like consistency, you guys just don't miss. They have to beat you in everything. And then you just like the pressure is just always there. And I feel like your ability to add a little more pressure is pretty phenomenal. So kind of staying on the same topic, like you have your own YouTube channel. You have like a little vlog style. You do like a lot of strategy videos, which are fun. So I want to talk to strategy a little bit. So there's a lot of content out there around, you know, basic strategy, intermediate fora, like, but there's no like really high level stuff. And so I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit about what you think when you go into a match. So my first question is, do you play every team the same or is it different?
No, there's almost, I mean, you want to play your game, and I think you really want to play to your strengths. So there's that side of playing every team the same, but every team you got to know what their strengths are. And sometimes if your strengths play into their strengths, you gotta change it up. You might have to, you know, play into your mid-tier game in order to play to their mid or lower tier game. Because if I have a really good speed up at the body, like just in general, but the person I'm playing has a really good backhand counter, when it like I gotta adapt my game to who I'm playing. So I think it's very dependent on who you're playing.
So when you're thinking of strategies and things you'll change with each team, like what are things you're considering? Okay, so they have a strong backhand counter. Like what do you change? Are you changing your speed up location? Are you not speeding up as often? Like how do you approach that?
So there was a period where I was, you know, really getting analytical before some of these games, and I was really trying to like break it down to like the little things, like, oh, you know, dink twice to their backhand and then pull them out wide with dinks and then pull them middle and then like try and speed. Like I was getting a little carried away.
Okay.
When some of my best work comes from just instinct.
Sure.
So I think having a loose strategy is very important, but not being confined to a certain strategy. So I mean, I think there are some, like when you go into a match, you should know who you want to return to, but you should also know that it's possible that you picked the wrong person to return to, and now you have to change that up. And then it's the same thing with your thirds when they return. Where are you going with your thirds? Like you have a loose idea, but if you confine yourself to one strategy, and it's not working, you need to be able to adapt.
Yeah, I like that. That makes a lot of sense because you want to play loose. You want your mind to be free, right? So it makes sense to have a general strategy, but not get too minute. That's kind of a cool experience there. So like 2 days ago, I'm playing a couple of buddies, and my partner and I we're like prepping for a tournament this weekend, and so we were staying with the same partner. The first 4 games we just got spanked, like 11-1, 11-3, 11-5, like just really bad. And then so we sat down and we just chatted, and we're like, we're better in this, you know. And we just kind of asked ourselves, you know, how are they beating us? So one of the guys has a really nice speed up inside out forehand. We're like, okay, he's just stay away from that. Like that's his strength. And then the other guy, we're like, he's just a little less consistent. Let's pick on him just a little bit. So just like really simple stuff. So we're like, okay, pick on the other guy just a touch. And if we go to the other dude, just kind of avoid that forehand, you know, just generally speaking. And then we all of a sudden, like the role totally flopped. We started winning like 11-3, 11-4 for like the next 4 or 5 games. And it's funny to me how I think at the amateur level, it's probably a little bit easier to come up with things like that. Because when you're playing at the level you are, there's probably not as many cracks in the armor.
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating to me that we're the same teams. We just made those little adjustments, and we started dominating them. And I'm sure you've kind of experienced that with certain players, where like some players you're like, okay, I know how to beat you, and then you go get them.
Pickleball is fascinating in that sense. I mean, where it is very strategy based, even though I mean you want to rely on like you want to rely on instincts, but at the same time, like strategy just it's such a big role. It really is. And I mean, it's sometimes it's just the little things that make a difference, you know, just just making, if some guy's playing well, just keeping the ball away from them. Like it's just as simple
just
as
take it
that.
off
Like
the
you don't
hot
need
hand.
to, you don't even need to like overthink it. It's just like, hey, like we've been hitting to this person, they've been winning points, he's been making things happen, she's been making things happen. Let's just take the ball out of their hands and let the other person try and create and be that person. And then maybe they can, maybe they can't. And what oftentimes will happen is when the person who was hot gets a ball again, they're not feeling it anymore. You kind of like ice them out,
yeah.
is what we call it. Yeah. And then maybe they'll try and do too much. I know that's happened to me when I'm playing well, and then people keep the ball away from me, and now I'm like itching towards like the other side, like towards my partner to maybe try and take some balls. And then either I take a ball I shouldn't, or they hit behind me and now I'm like out of it. So icing out is a good strategy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Even just kind of like in-game management. Because like if you're the person that's hot and you want to get involved, you might overstretch, you might extend yourself where you shouldn't, and create problems. Yeah, like okay, that's a good one. Any other things where you're like, okay, look for some basic strategies, maybe that take it off the hot hand, maybe drop to the shorter person. I don't know what are, or maybe just looking at strengths. Is that like a typical, like, is that a good way to approach it? Like if I'm playing a team I've never played before and they beat me 3-4 times off of a certain shot, like are those the things you're looking for and just stay away from that? Like how do you kind of pick up on some of those things?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're playing, you've got to, in the back of your mind, you kind of have to keep note of what's going on, like what has been going on through the match, or matches, plural if you've played multiple. You got to keep note and be like, what's been happening. You don't want to like hold on to like the negative feelings if you've lost points, but you want to be aware of what's been happening,
those points,
of how they're getting those points. So I mean, that's another thing, is just being very aware of what's happening on the court. Yeah, that's
a good way to think about it and approach it. And sometimes that's tough when you're playing, because like you're just playing and you're not necessarily thinking of those things. Are there I don't know, maybe you have, do you have, or do other players have coaches that are kind of taking those notes for you?
Yeah, so I do have a coach. Lee Waters coaches me, and it's so helpful to have a coach, because you should be focusing on playing, and if anything that you can take off your plate as you're playing is a benefit, because you want to focus on getting into the zone and being comfortable and playing your best. And if you have to like overthink the strategy, sometimes it can negatively affect you, because pickleball is so strategic that sometimes you get lost in the strategy when it's on. Yeah. So it's really nice to have a coach to kind of take some of that off your plate.
Is she courtside at every game, or is this just kind of in between tournaments?
No, so both. We go to basically all the same tournaments. So she'll be courtside. And I mean, like the last one I played, she wasn't there. She was texting me, like she was watching, texting me. And then that's just super helpful during a match. And then anytime we're off, we're on the court working together.
That's cool. Yeah, I love that. And I like the idea of taking that off your plate, having someone paying attention to those things for you, and then they can help you make those adjustments in game. That's huge. So, what was I going to say? She, dude, I'm blanking here. Give me a second.
Okay.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
It's not coming back. If it comes back to me, I'll bring it up. But
yeah,
I want to shift for a sec to just the game in general. So the game's getting a little faster, paddle's getting a little hotter. Are there any skills that you're practicing more or trying to develop, or you think that amateurs should develop as the game is kind of shifting towards this kind of power-oriented style?
Yeah. I mean, a couple things on like speed and when somebody can really outpower you. I mean, the first one is take a step off the kitchen line. If you're playing against somebody who has a hot paddle or is known for just really hitting the ball hard, take a step back, and then you now have more time to A, counter, or B, let the ball go out. Because often it's going to go out, but if you're so close, you don't have the time to react to let a ball go out. So if you have that step off the kitchen line, you're going to be able to realize it's going out. And then, so that's really important. I do that all the time when I play against people. When I play against people who are very trigger happy, if you just take a step back, like, it's going to help you so much. And then the second thing is just expect them, similar concept, but expect them to speed up the ball and expect it to come hot, and just sit with your paddle here and just be ready. Like, your paddle should not be, I have a paddle. Your ready position should not be this. It should never be like,
which you see all the time. Like,
which you'll see, people go like this, because now you have to take the time to turn it. And I mean, you're 10 feet away from your opponent. They're so close. You don't have that much time. So your ready position should honestly be here. Like, you should be standing here so that if they do come at your body, it's just a push forward. It saves you like a second. Like,
which is really like an eternity.
Yeah, and if you sit on your back and side, you can really cover all of your my left and then most of your right too. And then if you need to hit a forehand, if they're hitting it far over, you probably have an extra second to get over there.
Yeah, dude, love that. That's good. Yeah, that's one thing I've been thinking about too, is like letting balls out is like, it's a skill that people are going to need to be able to develop. And I didn't consider that. Just take a step back, give yourself a chance to react appropriately. Because I always felt like my instinct is to counter, and I will hit a lot of out balls because of that. And so that, I like that. That's good. Yeah, letting balls go is going to go a long ways. When that'll calm people down, and they'll have to slow it down because they know that they can't keep it in.
Exactly.
That's good. So I remembered my question from a second ago, and I'm going to ask it.
Okay.
So I want to hear a story that you can think of where you were in a match, Lee gave you a suggestion, and then it kind of changed the outcome of the game. Like, I want to see if you can remember a story like that and like what the suggestion was.
Okay, so I was playing CIBC finals of end of December, end of last year, 2023. I'm playing Federico Staxrud in men's singles in the semis. And as we know, he's ranked #1 in the world right now. Congrats to him. Mm-hmm. In singles, he deserves it. And that was a few months ago. And Lee tells me, because he's playing really well, and I'm down a game and 7-0. And she's like, hey, you should change up your serve because he's handling your return really well. And I was like, and she was like, hey, you should try like a lofty serve and like try and throw his timing off. So I was like, you want me to just give it to him?
Lollipop one in.
Yeah, you think of that and you think like, and I was like, you want me to just give it to him? And she was like, because you can't force someone to do something. Right. And I was like, all right, Christian, there's a reason she's there. And I start hitting the serve, and it's like a float. It is like kind of a floaty serve, but it's very different because now your opponent has to generate their own power. Uh-huh. And for someone like Federico, who is really good at absorbing power from the serve and using it to direct his return, so now him having to generate that power on the return it kind of took him off guard, and I started like getting really good looks on my thirds, and that it kind of just spiraled. I was down a game and 7-0, and I ended up winning that game and the third, I think 11-1 or 11-0 in the third. I just started dominating, and I owe a lot of that to Lee's suggestion.
That's it. I love that, dude. See, that's so neat to me. Like, that's such a simple change. Like, sometimes I think, oh, strategy has to be this some like complex thing, and it's not. Like, it can be simple stuff like that. That was a great story. I love that. All right, dude. Let's shift gears. Let's talk about your new paddle, dude. So you're signed with Paddletek not long ago. You and now have a signature paddle coming out. It's May 4th, I think, is the launch.
May 4th, tomorrow.
Just tomorrow. So this will go out this recording will go out early next week. So by the time this video goes out, the paddle will be out. So I have them. I have them in my hands. I got both the 14.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So Paddletek, they're funky, 12.7, 14.3. So I've been hitting with them this week. I'm working on a review form, and they one thing I want to call out. So I reviewed Annalise. Annalise 12.7 is really hot. A lot of people like it. Really lightweight, really poppy. I wasn't crazy about the 14.3 on hers. One of the reasons is the handle is just like super blocky, had like exposed polymer. But to Paddletek's credit, they fixed the handles. They have a normal butt cap, like those dumb bubble butt caps they had.
I was not a fan.
Yeah, and the handle's more uniform. It feels a lot better. But these, I don't think people realize how hot these are. They got some power.
Yeah.
Like when I did my power test for them, they're right up there with Gearbox and Yola. And I don't think people realize that. And it's so interesting to me because the technology in these on paper looks really simple. It's not using like the thermoforming or like some sort of foam injection. The sound looks like they did something to the core that just makes them pretty juicy. And so I'm liking them. They're good. Like they're a little more consistent than the other. Like these foam paddles, like yes, they're hot, but like they're a little unpredictable at times. So this one's a little more consistent, which I like. And it's just a touch less powerful, which for an amateur like me is nice. It makes it just a little more controllable. They are loud though.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I think they're a good loud. I mean, there's like different kinds of sounds that come from a poppy paddle, and some of the ones with like the mold will sound like kind of like springy, like it's a higher pitch sound. And I mean, you can tell like that, like you can kind of tell. What am I trying to say?
Just sounds a little different.
It makes it
not as annoying.
Yeah, it sounds higher pitch, and it doesn't sound crisp. That's the word I would use.
Yeah.
Whereas some paddles, have that pop, and it's like a very crisp, like this is what a pop should sound like. And it's like, if it's coming hard, like it should sound like it's coming hard, like, because that's, yeah, I mean, yeah, and
they're definitely hot. The pop's there, particularly the 12.7. It is very jumpy at the kitchen. Like finishing points is much easier. One thing I'll say I really like about these two is the numbers. Like I don't know how I'm a big time paddle nerd, right? So like I look at all these like numbers and specs, and something that really stands out for me with these that you don't see in like hardly any paddles is the combination of power and lightweight. So these paddles are actually really light out of the box, like 7.7, 7.8 ounces. And your paddles are both elongated. A typically elongated paddle is going to have a swing weight like closer-ish to 120, and these are like 115. So they're very light, but the power is still big, which is a really nice combination of that maneuverability and power that you just don't see in very many paddles. And so it's and then on top of that, they're actually pretty stable. So for a 14 and 13 millimeter paddle, which typically twist easier in your hands, aren't quite as stable, aren't quite as forgiving, these are actually pretty good. They outperform most paddles that have that similar thickness.
You're gonna make me blush, man.
No, but this is also significant because the paddle's so light. So normally lighter paddle means less stability. So I don't know. It's kind of baffling to me because when you like read through the spec sheet, you're like, I have no idea why these numbers are so good, but they are. They're really strong, and it's really nice. So you're coming from Diadem. You've been playing with these for what, 2-3 months now? It's been a bit.
Yeah, about 3 months.
These are a lot hotter than your Diadems. Tell us, like, has it been difficult to switch? Are you happy about it? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, so I mean, the last 3 months, I've probably went through like 5 different iterations of paddles. It started with. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. So I probably went through like 5 different paddles, and it took a while to get to this one. The main differences from, oh, I'm so sorry, man. Whew, give me a sec.
Yeah, it's been a day for you. No worries.
It has been a day. I'm going to get a sip of water.
Yeah, get yourself some water. Look like you're going to pass out.
Yeah. That's funny. I'm usually on my shit, so.
Yeah, you're good,
dude. Can you just repeat the question briefly?
Yeah, I just want to hear. So you came from Diadem, which the paddle wasn't as hot as this one. So I want to just kind of hear your experience building the paddle, why you like it hotter, and just kind of where you're at with it.
Yeah, there were like several different iterations that we had to go through. I probably tried a few different paddles. At first, I was using the 14.3 millimeter because before it was this grip length and this paddle shape, they sent me a couple demos with 14.3 and 12.7, same Bantam core. And for me, coming from Diadem, the 14.3, the power from that was like a lot. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I tried the 12.7 and I was like, oh, that's a little
too big of a
that's
change.
A little power. It's too big of a change. I was like, that's a little powerful. I'm a pro, so me saying that is it's funny. So I used the 14.3, and the intention was always to upgrade to the 12.7, but I wanted to get comfortable with the 14.3. About 3 weeks ago, I started using the 12.7. I had a tournament, I had a weekend off, and I decided to switch paddles because it's always nice to switch a paddle and have a few days. I mean, if you watch one of my YouTube videos, you'll see I switched a paddle like a day before a tournament just because like they sent it to me, and like it was one of the iterations, and it was fine, but it was an extended grip, and the little differences make a big deal when you're playing. So going from the 14.3 to 12.7, it was nice to have like a week to work on it. And the power, it's like I've never really had a super poppy paddle, and to finally be a person with a really poppy paddle is awesome, because I think if you're playing against people with poppy paddles, you got to fight fire with fire, so you got to fight power with power, and it does a really good job of having control. I started with the 14.3. I felt like I had a ton of control with that. I still feel like I have control with the 12.7. And that's the crazy part is, I mean, anybody can make a poppy paddle, but like being a well-rounded paddle that, has control, has spin, has power, I'm obsessed with this paddle. It did not come overnight. It was back and forth for several months, and the fact that it's like it has my signature on it, you don't have to get the one with my signature, but the fact that it has my signature on it is like, it's just mind-blowing cool. that this is where we're at right now. And I'm so thankful to the whole Paddletek team and everyone there, and just it's super grateful, and it's just one of those moments where you really reflect like where you've come from and like where you're at now, and just it makes me feel very appreciative. So
yeah, you deserve it. And it is a good paddle. If I'm being real, like I haven't been crazy about Paddletek paddles in the past years, but these Annalise, particularly the 12.7, and then your versions here, like they're pretty solid. Like Paddletek hasn't like made new paddles in a while, and then in the last year they're like new paddle. Like they finally figured out that raw carbon fiber can generate spin, and now they're just pumping them out.
Oh, that's funny.
But these are solid, man. I think these are going to keep picking up steam. I do think it is a nice variation in the power space where it's not like, yes, the pop's there, the power's there, but it's not overly springy. It does have a different feel, so like you have to kind of get accustomed to it. But if you can manage it and like it, they're good, dude. So I'm playing in a tournament tomorrow, and I'm going to play with the 14.3. I've been playing well with it this week. And I'm on the hunt. I've been playing this, what's called the Volair Mach 2 4 as a 14. So it's kind of the shorter, wider, thinner paddle. And I've really enjoyed it. It's a great paddle. But I'm kind of I'm on the hunt for something with a little more offensive ability. And so these are definitely attractive to me. And but yeah, I'm gonna keep playing with them. But yeah, some good stuff there. Super happy for you. That's really exciting for anyone interested. These will be available at Pickleball Central. So Christian's playing with the 12.7. It's got the cool red edge guard. It's got his signature on the back. And then they will also have this available in the 14.3. But then there's also like an elongated handle version of these. So you have like two variations there to kind of pick your poison.
Yeah, if you want to get the so I use the elongated handle for my hand so I can fit on there, because without it would be
you use here. The one I have, I think it's like 5.3. It's just TKOC. Is that the one you have?
Okay. Yeah, so
there's an even longer one at like 5.75.
Yeah, this one's a 5.75. The only difference.
Okay.
It's the only difference. It's the TKOC X. I use the elongated handle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. I didn't realize that. I thought you had the shorter one for some reason. So Christian's got the 5.75 inch long handle. And but yeah, they'll be available at Pickleball Central. I'll put links. I have a code and stuff in the description. Go pick one of those up. And it will not make you Christian, but it'll make you closer, I think.
Well said.
All right, dude. Do you how's your time? Do you have 10 more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've had a few other pros on before, and one of the things I like doing is just showing some video clips of me playing and just kind of getting your input on some feedback on improving. So I compete at the 5.0 level. I'm just kind of this mid-tier 5.0 guy. I can compete, do well, but I'm not like winning 5.0 tournaments. So I've always had a good soft game, pretty good control. On the offensive side is where I'm a little weaker, and so that's why I'm kind of looking for more offensive paddle, and just trying to generate more offense. My style of play has always just kind of been, hang in there, try to get them to give me a pretty good, easy attackable ball, and then I'll pull the trigger. But it's another thing entirely, I feel like, to generate your own offense, whether it's off the bounce, whether it's a lower ball, trying to be deceptive or whatever. And so these clips, I got 3 clips I'm gonna share. I'll share my screen. You can watch them. This is from like the other night, and I was just shooting from everywhere, just see what I can get away with. So these are 3 clips of me just sucking, and I want to see if you could be like, Braydon, this is why that didn't work. All right, here I go. That's me on the close right.
Do we want to stop after each clip, or do we want to watch them all?
We'll stop after each clip. So yeah, this one was just kind of at the end.
I saw what I needed to see.
Okay, tell me. Okay, that was easy.
No, I think it's solid. Do you usually play the right? Is a question I have.
Yeah, I'm better on the right. I'll stack on the right when I'm playing in tournaments usually.
Yeah, so I mean the biggest thing is if you go back to where you're hitting that speed up, if you can.
Yeah, so I think my idea was, okay, I got pulled over to the right. I thought I saw some space on the right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
so I mean, if you can just freeze frame this shot right here, and you could kind of see the problem with the speed up is the middle right there.
Big gap right there.
Just the big gap in the middle. If you go, you speed up hard down the line.
Then he puts a nice counter down the middle.
He doesn't need to hit it hard to go to that middle. He just has to like block it, or he adds a little bit of power, but he doesn't. Yeah, and he hits it right to the middle. And now you're in the defensive position.
So is this a me problem, a partner problem, or both of us?
No. So go back to you speeding up again, just like before you hit it. Okay, yeah. So go back to right when you're hitting, like when you make contact.
It was like right there-ish.
A little bit back. A little bit right there. Yeah, right there. Stop. So there's one thing, like I will almost never, because I play the right, and I love playing the right, and my favorite part about playing the right is this shot. And what I won't do is I will never be leaning, I will never be leaning like heavy into the right foot with a speed up, because now you're leaning to the right. You don't want to be there. What you should do is use a little bit of footwork, and you want to keep that ball in front of you, and you want to hit it and move back to the middle. So you want to
okay.
So you want to
be a little more
speed that
active
up
with the feet before I speed it up, so I can recover quicker.
Yeah, because you're speeding that up, and you're kind of like off the court. You want to be hitting that and really be moving into the court to cover that middle. That's the first thing with this, and then the second thing is, I know the line kind of looks like it's there, but I'd say across the body, if you're on the right, is usually a better speed up.
Oh, so
because
I don't know if you can see my mouse, but somewhere over here instead.
Yeah, exactly. Right to his right hip. And as look at his paddle. Like before you speed it up, like look, you can see the face of his paddle. End. Yeah, it's set up on the back end. So he's ready for a backhand. And you hit it right to where he's ready.
Yep.
So, I'd say if you're going to go down the line like an off speed.
Okay.
But that gets a little bit, like multi-dimensional. So just across the body is probably a better. When you're pulled out wide, across the body is better because they're ready for the back end.
Okay, I like that. That's good.
So
footwork and then just where I hit that speed up. So because like he gave me kind of like a fluffy dink, and I had time to move my feet, and I didn't. I just kind of did the bare minimum there.
Yeah.
And then the location.
I'd say either one of those two. You didn't even need to do. You didn't need to do both of them. Just one of them would have fixed it.
Okay.
If you would have sped up across his body, he's not sitting on the back end, so that would have been a better speed up. If you would have set yourself, sped up to his back end, and then moved, you would have been covering that middle.
Able to cover it.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't give me like a super strong response. He just punches it in the right spot. So if I was able to recover, I probably would have been just fine. Okay, that's good. All right, that's one. I don't remember what the second one is. We'll find out.
Let's watch it again.
Okay, so we can start dinking. I kind of run around it, and then he just punches it down on me.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. Like, choosing that middle is not really a bad idea. They clink or clack paddles. Like, they clink paddles. Like, I mean, there's two sides to that. One is that they're both ready for that shot. So, but at the same time, you kind of did get them in a spot where they're both ready for it, but since they like are getting in each other's way, it's not a bad spot. You did do a good job of dinking out wide to his backhand first to try and pull out your the left side player. See, you put him to the left. I don't see too much wrong with this. I think they hit an okay like none of them are. You see the ball like right here. Don't even click it. You see the ball.
Yeah.
Like, the guy in front of you, he's not hitting it in front of him. The left side guy, if he's quick enough, he could hit it in front of him. So they're not pounding that return. You had a chance to make that next ball too. Yeah, I mean they hit a decent ball. I don't see too much wrong with it. Yeah.
But even there, like maybe footwork. Like if I'm speeding that up middle, I got to expect the response to be where it was and maybe make a play on it.
Yeah. If you go middle, you got to be ready for it to most likely come back middle. And there's a saying, so this is a good tip for you. Wherever you speed the ball up from, expect it to come straight back from that like spot. Is like it's usually whatever angle you speed up a ball, it's going to come back like that same angle.
Yeah, like the triangle thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah,
that's good. That makes sense. Because I was right here. I sped up middle, and if I don't think going earlier, I could have gotten a paddle on it or something. But okay, he made a good play there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This one I think was really bad. All right, I'm on the right side again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that wasn't horrible.
I mean, yeah, no shade to your partner, but your partner's got to clean that up.
Come on, Zach, put that away. So like this one, I think I kind of got away with.
Yeah, you did.
A funky one right here.
Look at your right leg.
Yep.
You're hitting a speed up out of position. I mean, if he would have done the same thing he did the first video, which was just block counter it or block it to the middle.
I kept this one lower, which pulled it across his body and just
got lucky. You sped it up across his body.
Yeah. So he gave me a weaker response off that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think he's sitting more backhand there.
And then, so this speed up across the court here, I want to talk about this one with you. So it's pretty common to hear instructors say, don't speed up across the court like that. What do you think?
I think it's very dependent on who you're playing when you're speeding it up. I'd say for the most part, yeah, speeding it up cross court isn't great, just because the person has a lot of time and they're probably sitting on the inside shot. So here he's look at him, he's sitting on the backhand,
which is right where I hit it.
Which is right where you hit it. You hit it right to his paddle. The guy, he didn't have to do anything. You just hit it right to his paddle. Like that's what you don't want to do when you're attacking, is you don't want to hit to where they're ready for it. And usually somebody's going to be ready for it in one spot. So if you can speed up cross court and get his right hip, that's good. But the problem with that is he's got a lot of time. He's got a decent amount of time to get a forehand there. So it's, yeah.
So the better shot here may have been either reset it or attack the person in front of me.
Well, I mean, we can also look at where you're standing.
Yeah, I'm back a little bit.
You're 2 feet, 3 feet behind.
Is that bad?
The kitchen.
Should I not?
You don't want to speed up there because once again, your opponent has time to react.
I feel like when I watch a lot of like high level stuff, like they're kind of like they're ripping it all over, like that kind of no man's land.
Yeah.
Is that? Do you just have to be really good at it? Like you have to be able to keep that low in order for that to be effective?
I think if you ever do watch somebody speed it up from there, they're most likely speeding that up and then following it forward. So they're speeding it up and then expecting another ball.
Okay,
and then
looking for a combo play.
Yeah, looking for a combo. They're never just speeding it up there like this is going to win it. It might be like, yeah.
Okay, so like if I maybe was a little more intentional with the location here, thinking if I go here, knowing it's going to come back straight, try to set something up that way. But like, I don't know. Do you feel like, because you initially said like, oh, that's a bad place to speed up from. Is that generally true or just mostly at my level where like maybe I'm not crazy good at that? I don't know. Like I'm just trying to come up with ways to be more offensive, and I'm just not sure how. And I was just shooting everything.
Yeah, I'd say the one benefit, because I'm trying to imagine myself doing that, is the one benefit is you can keep it low. The speed up can be lower if you're back there, because now you're able to get it over the net and drop. Whereas if the net's here and you're here, getting it over the net, you have to go up. Whereas if the net's here and you're here, you can go more of an angle. Yeah. So that's the benefit of speeding up there.
But you don't see that too often, or attempt that much.
You the thing with pickleball is it's like we said, or like we mentioned earlier in this talk, is there's a lot of instinct to be played, and if that felt right, like who's to say that's not going to work? Because
Thank you.
Because that worked. It worked. That shot put you in a position to win the point, and maybe your partner's not ready for you to speed it up from back there, and that's a whole layer of it. But I mean,
do you and your partners, do you guys kind of have like combination plays together? Like you look to speed up to the person in front of you, knowing that your partner's going to finish it. Like, do you talk about that?
I mean, yes and no, because it can be hard to predict. Like if you speed up somewhere where it's coming, but you're kind of just always ready for it.
Sure.
So it's hard to say like one specific combo. It's like it's like if I'm speeding up, like it can come at you. So you got to be ready. Like it doesn't matter. It usually comes back where it got speed up from, but that's not always the case. So you gotta be ready. I think if one partner's just aggressive, like the combo's there. Just it might not be the same combo over and over again but yeah.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate your time. Thanks for the tips. I'm gonna keep working on it. I'm gonna find some offense, and hopefully I can. I just want to be a threat, you know. I don't want to be that guy that just gets walked over anymore.
Yeah, holding your ground, man. I mean, your speed ups. When you can speed up when the ball's in front of you, that's huge. You don't want to be leaning to the side. You want it to be in front of you. And a big help to that would be maybe taking more dinks out of the air, because you're getting pushed back, and then you're feeling like you got to speed up from, maybe more out wide or more back. Whereas if you can hold your ground a little bit more, and not allow people to push you back and push you wide.
That's good. I do think I have a tendency to let it bounce instead of doing volley dinks. And then that puts you in a better position to attack stuff. Then you can lean in a little more.
Yeah. And then you can take it out of the air. And the speed ups you need the speed ups out of the air. Yeah.
Okay. That's good, dude. All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for hopping on. Congratulations and good luck in MLP next week.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you for having me.